It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. How are you guys? Having a good afternoon? It's Monday and it's noontime in Minnesota. It is just finishing my lunch. I was taking my last few bites. That's why I was late. Okay, so remember last year, sometime, I think this summer, when my channel was still relatively new and very, very small, I did a video about a property that the Duggars had purchased and owned in Arkansas, Springdale, Arkansas, to be exact, and how they had listed the property for around $1.8 million after they had purchased the property for $230,000 in 2014. The property was a very large home. Let me just show you. This was the original listing. It's a 360-degree view. And I'll show you here what it looks like. The weird thing is when they staged it, it actually was completely empty, which most people, when you are going to look at a home, realtors will tell you that you should stage it, put furniture in it so people can actually imagine themselves living in it. If it's all empty and open like this, people will have a more difficult time actually envisioning what it will look like when it's lived in. So the fact that it was actually put on the market and then put as is without any staging kind of speaks to the fact that the Duggars may have been trying to save some money by not, renting furniture or using a staging company to help them put this home together so people can see it. Because the way that it's seen here, it doesn't really look all that impressive. The kitchen looks nice, but without anything in it, it looks just like a very large open space and nothing homey, The home is an older home. It has several bedrooms, but not as many as you would think given the size of the home. An entertainment center, that full basement with all kinds of stuff, a humongous master. They completely renovated the home when they purchased it in 2014. So when they put the house on the market in it was mid 2019. Look at that garage. It's enormous. Tons and tons of cars in there. And there's the outside, and you can kind of see just like it has a ton of property. According to the records this is in Benton County, Arkansas, the property has around 2.73 acres, and then an adjacent lot that's next to it is another 2.8 acres, and they sold the home and the adjacent lot in February for around $1.5 million. Now, the problem is that nobody was looking to buy it. So they actually, in December of 29, brought in Weikart Realtors, and they took over the listing, and they actually decided to bring in interior designers to furnish the space. And by furnishing the space, they were able to get the home sold. They actually reduced the price from 1.8 to 1.3 million, and it sold in mid-February for over 1.5 million. So here is what they did after the fact. So these were, so there it is, fully staged now. And it looks cozier. It looks lived in. People can actually envision what it looks like. I would imagine that Jim Bob did not do this because it would cost extra money, and Jim Bob is notoriously tight with his cash. Look at how much better that room looks than the actual video that we just watched. The master bedroom, it's humongous. Bathrooms. So the interesting thing to note here is that the home actually sold for $1.5 million, but according to the property value on the website, it notes that it's actually appraised for $731,000, with the adjacent property being appraised for around $70,000. So they essentially doubled the price of what the property was sold for, or what the property is appraised for by the county, which is pretty phenomenal. But if I were the buyer in this case, I would be pretty concerned that I just bought an overinflated property for the price. And there's been a lot of discussion in the media that the Duggars made a ton of money on this sale, although I don't want to say that that's actually true. I mean, they did net a decent amount, but you have to factor that they've been paying taxes on the property for several years. And what I was able to find that they purchased the home in 2014 for $230,000. And since then, the Duggars have paid over almost $94,000 in taxes. So they've been paying for taxes on a home for 6 years. They've also had to maintain, heating, electricity, because the home has to be like, you can't have everything cut off if the home is going to stay in good shape. They've had to, upkeep with maintenance, property listings. I mean, the list goes on and on about how much money they actually put into this property. So it's not really clear how much they've made because they've spent a lot in renovating it and the renovation costs are unknown. It doesn't say like what they actually put into renovations. When it was when it was purchased in 2013 or 2014, it was at the sort of peak of when the housing market had kind of tanked and prices were at an all-time low around that time. So they actually made a ton of, like, they bought the house for a good deal, but they had to refurbish it because it's an older home. So according to the listing, which was actually on realtor.com, the home is, I think it's like 7,000 square feet. How many is it? Hold on. It was actually completely run down when they purchased it in 2013. So, you know what? Let me show you what it looked like. They had to do a ton. They had to do a ton of renovations to the house to actually get it to this where it is. And if you know anything about renovating, that is not cheap. It's a super big house. It's over 7,000 square feet. This would not have been an easy project for them to undertake. It was completely run down, it says. So let me just pull you up so you can get a side-by-side of what this home looked like when they bought it. It was it had 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms at the time of their purchase in 2014. And this is what it looked like. So you can see there's just a lot that they had to do to the house to make it better. There was some damage. They had to like completely tear out and redo that patio. You can see that it was not in very good condition when they purchased it. Looks like the roof and outside had some issues. I mean, they didn't even go inside of the home, if that tells you anything. So the house was not in good condition. I'm guessing they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars just renovating the home. So the thought that they're pushing that, oh, we made all this money, I don't know. Plus they held on to this property for 6 years. That's a long time for a flip. Like if they weren't renting it and they weren't making any income on it, that's 6 years they're negative on this property. And then it was on the market for almost a year. And then the realtors are going to take a pretty penny from that, anywhere from 6 to 8%, depending on what they spend. And it's a huge house. And their average taxes in the last years were $21,000 and $17,000 a year. So imagine having a rental or a home that you're going to sell. Nobody's living in it. You're making no money off of it. And you're spending $21,000 in taxes on an annual basis just to keep it satisfied with the county. And of course, the way that the Duggars are spinning it, they're saying that, they've always looked for opportunities where they could improve something. They just like flipping houses. They like the construction business and the remodel and seeing something go from good to bad, from unused to being attractive and ready to go. But the thing is that anybody that tells you anything about house flipping is that you want to have the house for as little time as possible. You want to have it, you buy it and then you turn around and sell it as fast as possible. You don't buy it in 2014 and sell it in 2020. That's a long time. That's not a flip. So I don't know how they would look at this as like a amazing investment. I'm guessing their profit in here is not as large as they would like you to think it is. But they did do a very good job in getting the house better, getting it to look more appropriate and all of that good stuff. So I want to know what your thoughts are. Do you think it was worth $1.5 million? given the fact that the county says it's only worth $700 and some $1,000. I don't know. It's Jim Bob Duggar. Now, some of my subscribers were like, maybe they're trying to unload things as they prepare for this investigation. Who knows? This property was actually put up for sale before an announcement of the investigation was ever made, although an investigation could be ongoing for a long time, and we still don't know the status of what's going on with that, and there's no indication that Jim Bob is a factor in that specific investigation. All right, you guys, so this is where we've got for the Duggars. I'll be back later with more. Bye.